So winter wheat is what we've got out here in the field. There are numerous types of wheat. There's spring wheat, there's winter wheat, there's durum wheat, and then there are subcategories of wheat. There's hard red winter wheat, there's soft red winter wheat, there's hard white wheat, I believe. The only wheat I am familiar with is soft red winter wheat, and that's what we have growing in the field here today. So this wheat was planted in October of last year. It goes dormant during the winter, and then as it warms up in the springtime, the wheat starts growing again. So the winter freeze does not kill it off like it does a lot of other plants. And so then once it starts growing again, we want to come out and start putting fertilizer on it. And we put a variety of different fertilizers on it. It depends on what the soil tests call for. And so a soil test is where we go out into the field with a special probe. We push down in the soil, and we want to get, I won't be able to get much here, but we're going to get various samples of the soil throughout the field. We will send it off to a laboratory, and they will test this soil to let us know what kind of nutrients that we need to put on here. Based on that recommendation, that's the nutrients that we put on, or the fertilizer as most people know it as. So we're not over fertilizing, we're putting just what the crop needs based on the soil analysis that we're given. In March, so about a month ago, I put my first fertilizer application on the field. We put actually three nutrients, nitrogen, potash, and phosphorus. And actually I said that in the wrong order: nitrogen, phosphorus, potash. So whenever you look at a bag of fertilizer, if you're putting fertilizer on your lawn, you'll see three different numbers there. The first number is nitrogen, which is N. The second number is phosphorus, which is P. And the third number is potash, which is K. NPK are the three main nutrients for any type of crop or anything that you're growing, whether it's vegetables in your garden, your lawn, corn, soybeans, wheat that farmers are growing. So we put the first application of nitrogen on along with the phosphorus and potash. And today I'm coming back with a second application of just nitrogen on here. In total, we're going to put about between 75 and 100 pounds of nitrogen on this wheat. If we put too much on the wheat, it's actually going to make, as this wheat grows taller, it is actually going to make this stem too weak, and this wheat will just fall down flat, and it will almost look like a crop circle if you're familiar with any crop circle. So any place that we've put too much fertilizer on, it will cause the wheat to go down flat on the ground, and then that is no good to us because we cannot harvest it. So we're not over fertilizing, we're putting just enough on to make a good crop. Along with the fertilizer that I'm putting on today, we're using a sprayer. We're putting liquid fertilizer on. So there's numerous types of fertilizer or nutrients. Liquid is what we're putting on today. We also use a dry fertilizer, which is what most people are putting on their lawns or gardens. It's just a dry granule, almost looks like stones that you pick up out of the road, or small rocks that you would pick up out of the road. spraying is a fungicide to prevent mildew in the wheat, because we do have problems with mildew or mold, for a term that you may recognize. If you go into your bathroom, this is a place you can find mold sometimes, is in your bathroom from taking a hot shower. The steam rises from that shower and gets on the walls and on the ceiling, and because of that moist, warm environment, you will start to see mold growing up on the ceiling. So that's something similar to what we're trying to prevent here in this wheat. So we're spraying a fungicide to prevent that mold from growing on the wheat. Because what we're after is a high quality wheat that we can sell for flour. So this wheat ultimately should be used for making flour. And that's the white stuff that your mother or father would buy in the store that comes in a 5-pound bag. It's white. You're making bread and cookies with it. This particular wheat, the soft red winter wheat, is mainly used for making the flour for cookies and crackers and cake. This is not necessarily a good bread making flour. So this wheat here, cookies, cake, and crackers. So that's all stuff we like, right? Everybody likes cookies. This wheat is going to take about 2 more months before it is ready to harvest. So this will probably be the last time that I spray it with anything, whether it's fertilizer or fungicide. We're hoping we don't have to come back for anything else. But one of the things I am looking for right now, and I'm not seeing it, are particular bugs on the wheat. It's what we call a cereal leaf beetle. And I've heard other guys that have had problems with it this year, but I cannot find one, which is a good thing. I cannot find one to give you an example of. So we're fortunate this year in that is not a problem for us, so we will not have to spray for that. Some of you remember when I came to school, I guess it was last fall, and we did the hay rides, and I showed you about the auto steer in the tractor. So we have to know where we have sprayed in the field before. We don't want to overlap and spray twice in the same day, or double up on the application of the fertilizer. So we have to know where we're going. And how we do that now is with a system called GPS, Global Positioning System. That's what most of your cars are using now with the maps that you see, or even on your phones. Your guidance with a map is using a form of GPS. So on the top of the tractor, you see the yellow dome. That is our receiver that is getting the signals from the satellites to tell the tractor where it is in the field. And then once it figures out where we are in the field, and then I can guide it from there and tell the computer how wide the sprayer is. And in this case, it's 45 feet wide. So we have to go over every 45 feet as we go down through the field. And so the GPS system tells us, and it measures every 45 feet to tell us where to spray. I also have the auto steer on this tractor, and what that means is I do not have to turn the steering wheel. Once the tractor is lined up, I press the button, the tractor is going to drive in a straight line, and I do not have to steer after that. So it's a whole lot easier than it used to be. It's somewhat stress-free as long as it works. But any of you with computers know it doesn't always work. But this is a pretty reliable system. We don't have many problems with it. It works very well. This is the GPS system that steers the tractor and tells me where I'm going. So as you can see, the tractor is driving itself now. We are driving a straight line. The orange-yellow area is what I am spraying now. So on the right, I have already sprayed this part. So I'm going this way to spray the blue part that has not been done yet. There's my next line right here. So that is 45 feet over that I'll turn around and continue spraying. So it does not turn around for me. I will turn around on my own. I will hit the button now. These numbers up here are in inches. It tells me how far away I am from the line. A little bit about the sprayer. This sprayer holds 500 gallons of product. So maybe you all can do the math real quick on this. I am putting 20 gallons to the acre out here. So if there is 500 gallons in the sprayer at 20 gallons to the acre, how many acres can I spray? And the answer is 25 acres. So 500 gallons divided by 20 gallons per acre is 25 acres. So each tank I can spray 25 acres. This field here is about 20 acres in total. So I'll have a little bit left over. We have nozzles on here that spray the product out into what we call a fan mode. So it's going to spray down like that into a fan mode. And depending on the product that I'm spraying, I have 3 different types of nozzles on here that I can twist around to get the correct application, because we don't always spray 20 gallons to the acre. Sometimes we'll spray less, sometimes we will spray more. All right, some of you may wonder if by driving over this wheat, and you can see the tracks here from the wheels, if that is going to hurt the wheat. Yes, it will hurt it some where we are driving over it, but we're actually doing more good than harm, because we can spray 45 feet across total, and we're only going to take out maybe 1 or 2 rows each time. Some of this wheat will pop back up and grow, and some of it will not, but we need the fertilizer out here, and we need the bug killer out here to make the wheat grow and to make it a good crop. The fungicide that I am putting on, I have a little bit left in the tank still. So, of course, all chemicals are dangerous, but they have different levels on them. So this one, can you smell it? Of course you can't smell it, because this is video. This is not smell-o-vision. It has a slight smell to it, and it has a slight color to it. You can see the whitish color there in the bottom. This particular chemical requires me to wear gloves when I'm mixing, but I do not need to wear the respirator. Some chemicals require you to wear a respirator when you are mixing them. Some require a full protective suit. This particular chemical does not. In fact, most of the chemicals I use do not require all of that. Mainly gloves, so you don't get it on your hands, and occasionally a dust mask or an N95 mask. Which brings me to another point here. With the coronavirus that we are experiencing in the United States now, how many of your parents went out and stocked up on masks? Yep, raise your hand. Okay. that is a good thing and a bad thing, because we are now experiencing a shortage in masks for people that really need them, that are still working every day. Farmers especially, we cannot get any masks now. We need them on the farm for dust when we're working in the fields, when we're working in grain bins, enclosed facilities that create a lot of dust. Yeah, we're gonna try it. We got to go in and do it. If you're
gonna be with us?
Yes, I am. You're not gonna get in until after I get in. Oops. All right.
It's on your nose. Whoa. Those look like, you know, like those doctor things that you have?
How's that? Is it okay?
You know,
yes, it's just like the doctor.
Yeah, like when they have stuff all over their mouth when they do surgery.
That's right.
Like I had surgery. I had surgery like, I don't know, a couple months ago for a tooth.
Uh-huh. Did the doctors wear one of these?
Yeah, I'm two doctors.
Okay.
So, is there 2 augers in here?
Yes, there are.
So, 2 augers.
2 augers.
So there's 2 things that could potentially end their lives.
You gotta shove this down a little bit.
That's kind of heavy.
I know they are. Or if we're working with chemicals that are creating toxic fumes, we need these dust masks, and we cannot get them now. So you need to think about that when you're buying up all these supplies. Do you really need them? Are you going to use them? Because there are people out there that need them worse than others do. Okay, back to the math question. This is the fungicide that I'm using. I'm putting 4 ounces to the acre. And if this tank holds 500 gallons, and we determine it would be 25 acres that I could spray at 4 ounces to the acre, how many ounces have I got to put in here? Aha! The person that guessed 100 ounces is the winner. So 4 times 25 is 100 ounces. So this cup goes up to 64 ounces, so I can fill it to 64. And then the second time I will fill it to 36, and that will be 100 ounces. Or I can go 50 ounces twice, or either combination to get 100 ounces. I am considered an essential business. So if anyone has been listening to the news, you understand that, you know, schools have been closed. You're now at home. A lot of your parents are at home because they're not allowed to go to work. There are some businesses and some people that can still go out because they are considered essential. They are vital to keeping other people alive. Doctors and nurses, for instance. Well, farmers also fall in that category because how else would you eat? If it wasn't for a farmer, then you wouldn't have the food on your table every night to eat. So we are considered essential. We need to go out and get our crops planted and continue taking care of our crops along with animals. I don't have animals personally. Animals still need to be fed every day. The chickens need to be fed in order to produce eggs, and those eggs need to be gathered every day. And I need to be in these fields every day, keeping an eye on the crop. So what's going to happen in about 2 months, this crop is going to get about waist high probably. So you can see now it's only about knee high, so it's going to double in size, double in height. And then it's going to get a head on the top of it about the size of my thumb, and in that head we'll have the kernels of wheat. And that's what I'm going to come through and harvest, is just that head, those kernels of wheat. We don't want all of this other stuff, the stems and the leaves to go with it. We're mainly after that kernel, those kernels of wheat. That's what is used to make the flour with. A byproduct of this, and what some of you saw when I came up with the wagon and the tractor and the straw, is the straw. We will come through after this has turned brown. We'll take the head out of the top of it, save the wheat itself, and then the rest of this comes out of the combine and falls on the ground. We will come through with a baler, a hay baler, a straw baler, and gather this stuff up and put it into the bales, and that's what you were sitting on. What those bales of straw are used for is the bedding for the animals. So cows and pigs and chickens and things like that, just like you lay down on a bed with a soft pillow or a soft blanket, animals like to do that as well. So straw is used for that, and it is also used for planting grass seed. When you put seed out on your lawn, if it's a new lawn, you'll put the seed out, throw straw over top of it, and that straw helps hold the moisture there for that seed to then sprout and grow into grass. So many uses for straw. It is not used by animals to eat. Because more people are home cooking and baking and things like that, they're not going to work, they're not going out to dinner because restaurants are closed. More people are home baking. We're hoping that the price of wheat is going to go up this year because of the demand. More people are buying the flour at the store, and we're hoping that price will go up, and that will be a benefit to us. But there's a lot of other factors involved in the price that we as farmers receive for our wheat. I think I've said this before when I was at school with some of you all. A farmer has to be an accountant. We have to know numbers. A mathematician, as I was explaining with the gallons per acre. A politician, because we have to be talking to our politicians so they do not enact too many laws or regulations upon us. We have to be a world marketer, because we have to know what's going on around the world. What is Japan buying? What is Russia buying? What is China buying? What is Mexico buying? What are all these countries selling? Because we're trading our product all around the world. And of course, we have to be a mechanic, a soil scientist. The list goes on and on. Farmers we wear many hats. Of course, I'm wearing none today, but we wear many hats on average. We're hoping for the best this year with pricing, with our wheat especially. We have not started planting anything else yet. Probably in the next 2 weeks we'll start planting corn, and then a couple of weeks after that we'll be planting soybeans. Does anybody have any questions? Yeah, go ahead and ask. Yeah, I can't answer those because this isn't live. Oh yeah. So I don't know how many of you know, but I also went to St. Michael's School. That was a long time ago. No, I didn't ride a horse to school. We had cars back then and we had school buses. But a long time ago, when I went to St. Michael's, there was not a kindergarten or a pre-K class there. I had to go to another school for that. And then I came to St. Michael's for first grade. And I went to St. Michael's 1st through 8th grade. My daughter also went to St. Michael's School, but by the time she came along, there was a pre-K and a kindergarten. So she started there in pre-K, then went to kindergarten all the way through the 8th grade. So I know a lot about St. Michael's. I still know some of the kids in school today that go to St. Michael's. So if you have any questions, you can pass them along through Mrs. Padukowicz, and she'll ask me if she doesn't know the answer for you, and we'll get the answer.